comes a time in life when everything around you tells you to quit, when the world stops believing in you, and the voices of doubt grow louder than your dreams. But I'm here to tell you one thing. Your story isn't over. Not even close. You were born for greatness. You were made to rise. This isn't just a speech. This is the fire you've been searching for, the dream you gave up on, the fight you thought you lost. Today, it begins again. Let's go back to a dream once spoken on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Let's rise with the clarity of Steve Jobs and fight with the heart of Rocky Balboa. Let's wake up the giant within. I have a dream, too. Not just for one nation, but for every soul who's ever felt invisible. For the student who was told, "You're not smart enough." For the athlete who was cut from the team. For the parent working 2 jobs just to survive. For the dreamer who wakes up every day to a nightmare of self-doubt. We live in a world that often tells us what we can't be. You're too poor. You're too young. You're too late. But the dream doesn't care about your age, your skin, or your past. The dream is waiting for your permission to breathe. Let me tell you about Tyra Johnson, a single mother in Alabama who raised 3 kids working night shifts. Everyone told her to settle, but Tyra had a dream. She studied online, exhausted, between diaper changes and double shifts. Today, she runs a tech startup, helping thousands of single parents find work-life balance. You see, the dream still works, if you do. I have a dream wasn't just a sentence. It was a commitment to action. It was a warning to doubt and a promise to destiny. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. Steve Jobs. Let me tell you something honest. You won't always know the plan. You won't always know where the path is going. But what you must never lose is your fire. When Steve Jobs dropped out of college, most people thought he was throwing his life away. But he was just stepping off a path that didn't belong to him. Sometimes, quitting what's not yours is the first step to finding what is. He wandered, slept on the floor of friends' apartments, returned soda bottles to buy food, and one day, he sat in on a calligraphy class, something completely useless at the time. Years later, that same sense of beautiful typography became the heart of the Mac computer. That's what it means to trust the dots. Now, let me bring you a real example from today. Meet Kevin Alvarez from Austin, Texas. He failed out of high school, worked as a janitor for 6 years. Everyone said he was stuck forever. But Kevin had one passion: audio engineering. He started recording rap tracks in his mom's garage, used old headphones, borrowed gear. He uploaded 1 track a week for a year. Nobody listened. Year 2, he went viral with a beat that ended up in a Nike commercial. Now, he owns a studio, mentors underprivileged youth, and is a Grammy-nominated producer. Why? Because he didn't wait for permission to start. He trusted his fire, and he kept showing up. Passion isn't a luxury. It's your fuel. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you build. And failure, that's just a comma, not a period. What if I fail? Good. That means you're trying. Every successful person you admire once sat where you are, scared, unsure, doubting themselves. Let's talk about someone you might not know. Chloe Sanchez, a barista from New York. She loved books, always wanted to write, but life said no, until one night she started writing stories on her phone during her subway commute. Every day, 20 minutes of fiction. 3 years later, she self-published her first novel on Amazon. No marketing, no connections, just a story, a dream, and consistency. That book, it sold 40,000 copies. She quit her coffee job. Now she runs writing workshops for women from underrepresented communities. Steve Jobs said it best: have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Your fire is not a mistake. You were not born to copy someone else's path. You were born to blaze your own. It might not make sense now, but every odd job, every late night, every no, it's a dot. And if you don't stop, one day those dots will make the masterpiece that is your life.